Welcome to Judge of Ghana TV. Akwa Baba, Judge of Ghana TV. So,
I want to say thanks to God. His mercies have been infinite, as always, and I'm very grateful. I express gratitude to the medical staff too, for seeing the right thing, for making the right proposals. And to my boss, that day, I don't know where you appeared from, but he came and quickly set in motion what we needed to do. And I also want to thank all of you, your prayers, for your good wishes. I can't be thankful enough. I'm very grateful. But I need to isolate beyond family and friends your brother, Mr. Ibrahim. He stopped at nothing to ensure that I had what I needed. And then he also came to the hospital. He came to sit by me, and that was healing by itself. So, my little boss, I'm very, very grateful. So I'm very happy to be back. And there's so much that has happened that we all need to do. And I know that with our collective will, we'll do much more for our country.
hey Ghana, wonders wouldn't cease in Ghana. Hey, one way. If this is the first time you're watching Judge of Ghana, kindly like, share, subscribe, and press on that notification button so you can get regular updates when new content is uploaded. In this episode, we will talk about Jane Naana Opoku-Agyeman, her arrival back in Ghana. We will then talk about the arrests of Adenta Kumi, Alfred Ababio Kumi, aka Adenta Kumi, and also the raiding of the home of Chairman Wontumi, whose real name is Bernard Antwi Boasiako, in Kumasi. So we had explosive incidents happening on Friday the 23rd of May 2025. Many things happened, and these two politically exposed individuals, Adenta Kumi and Chairman Wontumi. Adenta Kumi's house in Accra was raided, and Chairman Wontumi's house in Kumasi was raided. But before we go into those issues, I would like to talk about the long-awaited, with much joy, the arrival of Professor Jane Naana Opoku-Agyeman, Her Excellency Vice President of the Republic of Ghana. I'm glad to say that she came back into the country on Thursday, the 22nd of May 2025. Vice President Professor Jane Naana Opoku-Agyeman was looking stunning, healthy and well, and we thank God for her life. She was met by President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, and Her Excellency his wife, Lordina Mahama, at the airport when she disembarked from the plane. They met her at the tarmac and walked with her back. What a wonderful sight it was. I'm just glad, because I wouldn't wish anyone to die before their time. My prayer is that God sustains her through her 4-year tenure as the first female Vice President of the Republic of Ghana. That's a record that will be forever hers in the history books. So we just pray that she fulfills her tenure, her 4 years, healthy and well. Because it's not, I mean, this is my take on it. Why would God make her, win and become the first vice president? It doesn't make sense to me. So my prayer is that she concludes her tenure in good health. But when she came back, a brouhaha has erupted over the chartered flights. And guess who has fueled this brouhaha? Vincent Ekow Assafuah. He's the new Patriotic Party MP for Old Tafo. He has accused the government of chartering a private jet, and he was public with the details. I have a little video.
This morning, the Minister of Defense, Dr. Edward Omaniboama, has disclosed that the country's presidential jet is currently grounded. And in a Facebook post, he said that, and I quote, 1, Akufo-Addo's administration run down the presidential jet, among others. Its fuel tank is even corroded. 2, the presidential jet has been in the hospital abroad for maintenance, repair, and overhaul, and may be put in fairly usable state after 3 months of therapy. 3, the presidential jet is unfit for use presently. Vincent, are you satisfied with this response?
Obviously, I cannot be satisfied. This seems to me as an afterthought. Until yesterday, had it not been the arrival of the vice president, we wouldn't have known as a legislator or as a parliament house, as a people, we wouldn't have known that indeed the presidential jet has been grounded. Assuming, without admitting, that indeed the presidential jet has been grounded, there was a standard that was set by the NDC and its leaders when they were in opposition. What standard was it? The standard was that in the event that the presidential jet is unfit for purpose for a period, the President of the Republic or the Vice President can resort to first-class tickets or business class tickets. If indeed the presidential jet has been grounded, from London to Ghana is about 6 hours. What stopped the Vice President, who is now looking 20 years younger, from using a first-class ticket, which is just about 100,000 Ghana cedis, or a business class ticket, which is just about 50 or 60,000 Ghana cedis, rather than chartering a flight costing the state not less than 2 million Ghana cedis? Old money, 20 billion. The government and the vice president could have saved this country about 1.9 million Ghana cedis or 19 billion old Ghana cedis. Today, here in Sprinters, around Community 18 and its environs, almost every 12 hours, they are lights out. If you go to Kumasi, almost every 8 hours, they are lights out in some parts of Kumasi. We are being told that we do not have enough money to be able to, as it were, purchase fuel. We have about 3 days of quantum of fuel to be able to take care of our energy sector. And if there has been an opportunity to save this country about 1.9 million Ghana cedis from a single trip, I was expecting that by their own standards, they would have used that opportunity to save this country money. Now, when I have the opportunity in Parliament next week, Parliament is going to be reconvened next week.
Yes.
The defense minister should prepare to be hauled before the House to answer why or whether or not indeed the presidential jet has been grounded, to answer if indeed it is Akufo-Addo who grounded the presidential jet. Because as far as I am aware, within the last 3 months, the current president has been using the presidential jet.
Right.
I would also want to find out from the defense minister how much it indeed cost the state to charter this jet, that is the Vista jet from London to Ghana. And so in the coming days, I think that the government should be able to prepare to give Ghanaians some of these answers. They set their own standards. This is the threshold that they themselves set. We will have to make sure that they are able to meet their own standards.
Thank you very much, Vincent, for speaking to us there.
I think I've just shown you the videos. So, and what he's saying is that the government of Ghana chartered a private jet, Vista Jet 836, Vista Jet 836, for the Vice President's return at a cost of $170,000. That's what Vincent Ekow Assafuah is saying. Whether this is true or not, until the government spokesperson or the government comes back and tells us the details, we only have a one-sided perspective. But this is his allegations. And his allegations is allegations of extravagance. He's saying that the government of Ghana under President John Dramani Mahama is being extravagant in its spending. They are telling people that their finances are very tight and things are challenging, but their conduct is opposite. That is what he's trying to portray. So he criticized this as wasteful amid Ghana's economic challenges, sharing flight details publicly, including his departure from Farnborough, UK, and arrival in Accra on May 22nd. Enti idea Ekow Vincent Ekow Assafuah can say we're a new Patriotic Party member of Parliament for OUTRAGE was say ono de who say the facts ono no oka say ye name details no until say ye benya feedback from government spokesperson and the government yeah the one side ni etie Vincent Assafuah argument no was say private jet a day Professor Jane back to Ghana no a Vista Jet 836 na ne bo na $170,000 na $170,000 and I say only the who say government no almost say sika obi beka na sem that is rich coming from 8 years of Akufo-Addo, where we saw grandiose on a high level. But on also Canada, because me mom dear, I believe say so obi recover from diarrhea. Ya na on person mo pampa wo because me my yareda akoko mada my yareda and am yare ye no microphone be on be sra me no omo ye nema e be pampa me and omo de gifts bring me back from Kuma no I got a lot of gifts just to sort of make me happy. So I think say me mom dear I don't see say a problem say government or a charter private charter plane ama jenaba because obi wo yare serious ano ohia comfort be akran bobe here medical team to accompany her, a nurse at least. So at I say be all ban bibi happen na obi wo ha obetimi aboa no e na be one nkrofo kakra e na ko UK ho na ombeba and unse ne maybe wo ho a we o man penyi vice president a lot of confidential things because over back no over be ye adwuma for mine Ghana intibiana there's some confidential briefings e was say when nkrofo ka e wo flying no so enti say a charter plane a man about Ghana me who say a problem but if you see so be time wa the baby out time enti ono na won kana sem details no ba na ebe hu de wom ena oka oyes ade no Vincent Ekow Assafuah kan ne nsɛm no ɛna Defense Minister Dr. Edward Omane Aboama eba out. So the Defense Minister for the Republic of Ghana, Dr. Edward Omane Aboama, came back and refuted the claims, attributing the need for a chartered flight to the poor state of the Ghana's official presidential jet. He blamed the prior new Patriotic Party government under President Akufo-Addo for neglecting maintenance, citing a corroded fuel tank and the jet being grounded abroad for repairs. The aircraft is expected to remain unusable for at least 3 months. Enti, Vincent Assafuah bae na obeka say ehun hia say Oman Ghana, the government of Ghana, omo hire a chartered flight Mami Jane on a return back to Ghana on the 22nd of Thursday, the 22nd of May. No. And Dr. Omane Aboama back beka say, yeah, presidential jet no ho abasem atochima, there's a problem. Na problem no say there's a major problems like corroded fuel tank na say aye rusty. Corroded, it means rusty. And say presidential jet to Krani Ghana ewa monone a omo repair omo CAC enti enya ade at least for the next 3 months be a longer Ghana will have access to the presidential jet. Enti using the presidential jet is out of the question. And Dr. Omane Aboama be ka de okai no and lawyer Kwame Danso. He's a political ally of the National Democratic Congress. Or dismiss criticisms or say baseless. So lawyer Kwame Danso came back and said that as far as he's concerned, the argument that Vincent Assafuah is bringing is baseless. And he was quite sarcastic by making a joke saying that should the vice president return via commercial bus or sprinter van. He also said that for all we know, this particular chartered flight may well have been privately funded by Ibrahim Mahama, the brother of President John Dramani Mahama. Because as you listened to the speech given by Professor Jane on her arrival, she cited Ibrahim Mahama for special thanks and said that he had been of great help to her and had made sure she had a comfortable stay in the United Kingdom when she went for medical treatment. So lawyer Kwame Danso was saying that it is very likely that the charter flight was actually paid for by businessman and philanthropist Ibrahim Mahama. And if that's the case, then the argument of Vincent Assafuah is of no consequence. Nti hona assembly and lawyer Danso went on to say that NPP are being hypocrites because under the tenure of Nana Akufo-Addo, they were using chartered flights for leisure. They could send a chartered flight overseas to buy pizza and bring it back to Ghana. They could send chartered flights to go and watch football matches. Apparently, it was very commonplace under Akufo-Addo. And what example of, extravagance and wasteful use of resources. Is it no wonder the country was in the dumps? And then they'll come and tell you that our woes are due to Ukraine and Russia and COVID. Now that the Ghana cedi is appreciating against all the major currencies, especially the dollar, now they don't know what to say anymore. These are the situation. This is the situation that we're in at the moment. Anyway, so as far as the NPP are concerned, the New Patriotic Party are concerned, the expenditure is irresponsible. But those who support the Vice President say that, because it's of her constitutional role as Vice President and the urgency of her return to duty, it was important that she was made comfortable on the way back. So just to summarize the context of the Vice President's health issues, Professor Jane initially fell ill on the 28th of March 2025 and was treated at the University of Ghana Medical Center before being flown to the UK for further advanced care. Her recovery was confirmed by President Mahama during public engagements, and she has resumed duties upon her return. The Vice President personally thanked Ibrahim Mahama for his support, as you saw in the video at the beginning, during her treatment, hinting at potential private involvement in her travel arrangements. She wasn't overt about it, but she sort of gave a hint that even the flight back to Ghana was paid by Ibrahim Mahama. So it may mean that this argument that Vincent Assafuah is throwing around is baseless, and it will come to nothing because the flight wasn't even funded by the government of Ghana. So this is another example of, how politics leads people to do all sorts of gymnastics. Things that are really not important, they make them important because of politics. So there you have it. Professor Jane is back in good health, and ready to work for Ghana. So we welcome her back and we wish her long life with good health. And everything she finds her hand doing, let her succeed so that it will become a legacy, a good legacy, that the first female president of the Republic of Ghana came and did this, that. Let her chalk wonderful successes so that it will help other women to also come and continue the work. Because in God's plan for Ghana, there's a female president being prepared for the future. So like other African countries like Johnson Sirleaf in Sierra Leone or Liberia, we're going to also have a female president in Ghana in the not too distant future. So and I think it bodes well if Professor Jane does an excellent job, and then she can hand the baton to somebody to take that leadership position. It's about time. Let's see what the women can do. Okay, so if you like this type of content, like, share, subscribe, and press that notification bell.
So early this morning, these national security operatives, a joint team of police and National Investigation Bureau operatives came to the house of the NPP chairman in the Ashanti region, Bernard Antwi Boasiako, and they came with a search warrant. A court has given them the permission to search the house of Chairman Wontumi to find some valuables or some exhibits that could lead them to a crime that has been committed by the NPP chairman. So we have pictures of this search warrant that they came in here with, and they seized all the exits to Chairman Wontumi's house, and they started working with. They started ensuring that they get exhibits and other information that will help in their investigations. It led to some of the NPP leaders coming to this area to actually supervise or oversee what exactly is happening here. So this is where we are now. The operatives seized all exits. They didn't allow any people to enter or leave the house. It's unclear if Chairman Wontumi himself is within the premises, but the operatives went in there and conducted their business. And with time, some of the NPP executives and other notable persons within the NPP all came around upon hearing this information, and they came to stand around and also be at the gate in solidarity with Chairman.
Now I want to talk about Wontumi's residence being in Kumasi being raided. You've seen the clips, so watch the clips.
It is almost entirely here. I come back to me the cocaine. Now we. Now some bet me the gold BB about the Chevy here. No matter fact. Wontumi BB. Me investigation pioneer. Sayasa Obi. Wontumi no be a also was you can now no. Wontumi no be a ofrena amma. Wontumi and you be a ukra court BB. That's all your year only so. Again, and a moya say. Let's right you Ramahama. Some conform moya Juma de Amano. Or no Monkapa.
In the Yamia Doma 26, which is a Joadano Obeba.
Never. Obi never. Everything a member. Obi everything a member. Never. Everything a member. Never.
As a letter now, woman, our lawyer Troy said, Yamia Doma, a Joada Obebano. We are police one to be amount. Yeah. Omonsa kind there.
Oh, Omonsa come on my Mr. Friend the amount. What's up here? Naka a year idea. Naka ya quiet. But I see a double bay idea. You need the Bianoa. You this year deal. It's a message the amount. Message me no can say we are. Message the amount. Obi, I didn't want my year. Some account in United States. I'm the I just have to so. Miss one the account not to Miss one man from you. May call bank. Namaka used card, Namaka Triam, my school fees. Nama Mapesica, Jamedeba and Yedi. We drew a bank and say, get me mouse. Ade, I will say, yeah, the letter, the Abba. Yeah, the letter, the Abba.
You're freezing account.
You're freezing my account.
Now, where Akonta Mining company account, that's a wow personal.
I don't know my personal account to near other companies in just a two personal. I did a question you two personal. It is two personal. You Ramahama, why? 2013, Sana Muya Mudigu Majuma. At year 2024, Yanko for the amount, 2025 in a day.
Yeah, but I say, Bibi or Honsua, who are not a company be a year a tomra.
Me, I did that from Cramempa. Me, I did that from a beer that from Michigan. Me, Jatuma, we get to my day that they have been Sadakano, Madi. At the idea of one. That's a Bibi or a year. So, let me make him annoying. So, let me make him annoying. What I say, I did a course one, you Ramahama, no like this. No like this. No like this.
I'm not panel, me video, no. Now I say, now who soon.
It's because they said the one way up president, me not gonna need you. Ghana for Musorio. I'm before you know Musorio. I'm before you know Musorio. I am Munti and I'm Mahama. This vice president. Me, Madam Board Suda. My CEO da. Me, my minister da. I chairman in Namibia. And I want to be campaigning, mammy. I'm not me campaigning my party. And I'm here, Juma. 2013. We are tired the boom, Juma. Bubaye, must stop him, Juma, you know.
Are finding you now. Your sins of the past are finding you now. So, don't pretend as though you've done nothing wrong. And, you're being, victimized. You have victimized the people of Ghana by destroying our water bodies and our forests. So if your matters are being looked into, so be it. So be it. Chairman Wontumi, Bernard Antwi, Boasiako. This is a man that a few years ago was saying that he has the money to buy Chelsea from Russian billionaire. Hey, he could buy Chelsea a few years ago. Now he's saying that he can't even get money to pay his children's school fees. Hey, Chairman Wontumi. We need to say who know. Hey. As he came now when to me and Fabi and Shisha corners. Anyway, there's a saying that ill-gotten gain never gets you anywhere. Okay, now you've seen the clips. And you've heard what Wontumi is going on. He's basically crying, asking for a savior or saviors, people to come and rally around him. When he was fooling over the last 8 years, pulling out gold bars on television, was he asking people to come and support him then? He was a big boy, wasn't he? A big boy, and he could do whatever he wanted. And no one could do anything to him because his government was in power. This is the problem we have in this country. The people hide behind their political parties, whether it's NDC, National Democratic Congress, or NPP. When they have a position of authority, they are the government of the day. Some of their key people in their party and in government engage in all sorts of foolishness, essentially. They do all sorts of illegal stuff, criminalities, and then when the law, the long arm of the law eventually catches up with them, when their government goes out of power, then they are crying. They are crying that they need people to rally around them. Do you know how many people have suffered over the past 8 years under Akufo-Addo, and have been subjected to so many raids? Many of them didn't have any court warrants. In Chairman Wontumi's instance, there was a court warrant issued. So the BNI, now NIB, used the court warrant to annex his property. And they weren't able to arrest him because he made a quick getaway. And then he rescheduled his appointment, because the reason why the NIB went to get an arrest warrant and a search warrant is because they asked him to come to the BNI office on the 21st of May 2025 and he failed. So they went on to get a warrant to come and search his house and arrest him. Because, to be honest, the evidences, because people like Joyce News reporter, they've done so many reports. Joy News has done so many reports on the extravagancies of galamsey, illegal mining, that Chairman Wontumi's company, Akonta Mining, has been engaged in. We also saw the Minister for Lands, Emmanuel Kofi Amabwa, crying because he said the devastation that Akonta Mining has done to our water bodies and our forests through illegal mining, galamsey, is so horrendous. It's so horrendous. He just started crying. But in Chairman Wontumi's eyes, if you listen to his rant on ecosystem, if you listen to his rant, he believes that he has done nothing wrong. And he's just doing honest work in terms of mining. See, he's obviously got an overblown impression of himself. You see, when people are not being true to themselves and they see everything that they do as correct, they can never be wrong, even when they're talking nonsense. Because a lot of the things that Chairman Wontumi has said and is still saying during the campaign, where they lost the elections, and after, a lot of the things, if you look back at what he says, he thinks he has spoken very sensibly, but it's senseless. You see, and his utterance shows that he's not wise. He's obviously tying himself with his mouth. The Bible says that out of the mouth, the heart, the mouth speaks. Out of the heart, the mouth speaks. If you listen to Chairman Wontumi's rants on Ecosystem, he's let the cat out of the bag that he's obviously been involved in some illegal criminal acts. Because he talks about planting coconut trees and filling holes or holes and big large holes they've dug in the forest. Why would you pay for something that you're not involved in? It's like saying that I booked an Uber to take me somewhere, and the Uber took me to my destination, and when I got out, I didn't. I paid, or I didn't use the Uber, but I paid for the ride. Doesn't make sense. You see, Chairman Wontumi is talking too much, and when you talk too much, you give yourself away and you make mistakes. If Chairman Wontumi was subjected to a lie detector test, you most likely will fail. Because, to be honest, a lot of people say he's not the sharpest tool in the box. He's not the sharpest tool in the box, because his utterances are a giveaway. He's clearly not the sharpest tool in the box. So what I say, in some of the cano, and to us to be out here, you just shake your head. and start laughing. Because it's in some of the kind of who ne to ananity. Hey, Chairman Wontumi, or a comedian. Apart from in some of or to me, yeah, no some style be way person yet the national chairman for New Patriotic Party. New Patriotic Party, powerful delegates way. Samunim na mu vote for Chairman Wontumi na obeye mo national chairman a mo mfa mo nsangu muti na mo nsu ma because papa we obegu we party no na num asem nye de onim kasa o kan sem hunu ende o na eyi abro ya DC na eko ise hunu park ka de embo Ghana enti mo hwe na monto amano NPP delegates, New Patriotic Party delegates, and to Mwaba for chairmanship bia ma Chairman Wontumi. Asante region kram beja kra mo sesa no mempo bu frontsha ho. Na mo fa na she ikona baby. No onye the oye because the new masem enye papa kra embo Ghana, embo New Patriotic Party. So we are serious at 2028. You want to really put a sterling team together and a sterling campaign, which can even lead to you winning in a surprise 2028 election. You don't need people like Chairman Wontumi. Or some will change all more executives. You don't need people like Abronya DC, Kwame Bafo, Omunim Kasa. Omunim Kasa. Omumbuadie. Share. So person you want to get people to gravitate towards you. You have to learn how to speak. Speak in a way that attracts. People talk about the law of attraction. It is the way you speak. So what can be in ubetimi aka ensamfo achiro bi but we obeka no no what dress yasem no enti kasa unka ensamfo but what kan ensamfo nipa ne call later na odwene wo be say what kan asem aka ensamfo ache no but we what kan no I to say nyansa. If you want to win people, a multitude of people, you have to know how to talk. One of the best, in fact, the best person that we can learn from in terms of how to communicate to masses is Jesus. Is Jesus. Because Jesus knew how to communicate. He said, I speak to them in parables, to the masses in parable. But those who are close to me, I speak to them plainly. Anybody who wants to be a servant leader must learn how to speak to the masses in parables. And you watch what you say. Jesus was always restrained when he was speaking to the masses, speaking to the Pharisees and the Sadducees. There are certain things he never said to them. But it's only those who are close to you, even those who are close to you. It's only a small portion of those who are close to you that you speak plainly to. Let your words be based on people that you trust. You see, because a lot of people who are close to you, they are not even rooting for you. They are looking for a way to spoil you. So you need to have a small one or two people. In fact, if you have one person that you speak to plainly, it's not difficult if your secret comes out to know who divulged that secret. But if you're somebody who's a loose talker and you talk without thinking, everybody will know your business, and it's very difficult to isolate the mole, isolate the Judases or the Judas. So it is not. So New Patriotic Party, you need to reorganize your party And in reorganizing your party, you have to be very careful the type of people you put into positions of leadership, because all these create a certain perception. Now, if your perceptions and the optics are not right, you're not going to win 2028. So if you're doing a house cleaning, clean the house out and make sure you put the right people who know how to speak. Do you know what won New Patriotic Party the elections in 2016? The way they packaged themselves, the way everybody spoke, the humility that they exhibited, it touched the hearts of the Ghanaians. So you have to look at how you succeeded and reinvent yourself to succeed again. It's unfortunate that the last 8 years under Akufo-Addo has left a bitter taste in the mouth of most of us, the citizens of Ghana. We have been through, but by the grace of God, we have come out on the other side. And things are looking up, because sometimes, in life, it's not what you do when you take over as a government. It's just the hope. It's about energy. The people of Ghana have become re-energized after the change of government on the 7th December 2024. The people have become re-energized. So maybe they're still earning the same salary, they're still taking the same bus, things are hard, but they have hope. See, hope gives you a reason to continue. Hope. And the people of Ghana have hope. So now let's leave Chairman Wontumi and his woes, because he's asked people to come and follow him, but who's going to follow him? Talking about coup d'etat? Who's going to follow him for coup d'etat? Somebody who's so selfish, only think about himself, greedy. Everything is just self. So pompous, no humility. Who is going to follow that? If you follow that, then you're a fool. But let me tell you something. In Ghana here, everybody has somebody who's going to follow them. Yeah. There's always going to be somebody who will follow you. But this thing that New Patriotic Party are doing, let's move on to Adenta Kumi. Alfred Kumi. Let's move to Alfred Kumi. Adenta Kumi. Listen to his some of his interview from Ekosi saying.
Specifically on this, you allege, say, there was a restaurant in Accra.
Yes, a restaurant in Accra.
And Ukoko 3 justices of the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
2 of which are members of the committee.
Of the committee, which
a probate chief justice.
Yes, and said by the president under Article 146.
Good. It is our 2 Supreme Court justices, Justice Scott Puaman.
Yes.
Justice Asiedu.
Yes.
And the other justice of the Supreme Court, now Okase Ekow Assafuah injunction application.
Yes. He was instrumental. Yes.
Now on also kasa 2 justices now.
Yes.
And that justice na
Justice Yoni
Kolendi.
Yes.
Good. And the justices miensa.
Yes.
And why would you any who have a restaurant?
Yeah, we are all the evidence is there. The record is there.
Record is there, meaning say video or picture to show.
We have all the records. You see, I don't want to go into the exigencies of the matter. We want the president. We are giving the president all the time to consider the petition. So we don't want to preempt anything at this point.
But as far as you are concerned, evidence be over here to prove your case.
It's readily available with the witnesses also.
witnesses are no money in our restaurant.
Witnesses, Wontumi nya witnesses but one or two be what they are ready.
Our money are ready to testify.
Yes, they are ready to testify.
And you saw these justices, but did you see the lawyer for one of the petitioners against the Chief Justice?
That is when that person came to join.
Even
though he was already in the
restaurant
location. And to Obi Jina baby say, oh, this is a monstrous lie. And I say, probably made a mature, so if you are referring to me, it's me. But the question is,
yes,
were you there at the period? That's the first question. If you are there at the period, the so and so, that's in fact you have to answer the first question before we know. Were you there at that period between that 7:30 to 8:30? Were you there?
Were you in the restaurant?
Were you in the restaurant?
But no abba because it is a monstrous lie. No such meeting took place. That's specific. It is very easy to fact check that. We know those who get justice through negotiation. It's also the first part of the way now. Or say a intro meeting biasa ankoso.
I'm not sure.
Now you've heard what he said on Okusise. Have you noticed that? He said he had evidence. You come and sit on radio, shoot your mouth. You know, the Bible says life and death is in the power of the tongue. And this is what is the problem that Adenta Kumi has. The Bible says, by your words you shall be justified, and by your words you shall be condemned. You go and sit on a major radio show, Asempa FM, Ekosisen, and you talk big, have evidence, I have people who come and back up my story, trying to create the impression that the Supreme Court judges were colluding, and the lawyers on this petition for the removal of the Chief Justice. One of the lawyers for the plaintiff, one of the petitioners, Thaddeus Sorry, was having conversations concerning the case in a restaurant. But I always tell you that we are now in the information age. Information is going to and fro at high speed. So the type of politics where you can come and say, oh, I saw this person doing that and that, is becoming something of a, and then later on you can just talk around it and not provide any evidence and get away with it. Those days are over. This time, politicians have to be very, very careful when they come in public and say this or that, because the people aren't going to buy it. The people of Ghana will not buy it, because there's always somebody hiding in the corner somewhere taking a video of something which they can cross-reference to what you say. So people don't believe your words. They believe what they see. So you came and you made all these allegations that they were colluding to so that they would finger Chief Justice Gertrude Tokonu. Bring the evidence. Now they've come to arrest you in your house, taking you to the NIB offices in Kaukudi, and they're asking you to provide your evidence and your statements and stuff that you mentioned that you have, and videos that you have. Submit it to them, the authorities. And you couldn't, because it was just bluff. You were trying to call their bluff. So you wrote a nothing petition based on nothing. You don't actually have any evidence. This kind of, political gimmick of just being wild and writing wild things and saying wild things without, substantiating it. It's old. It's not going to work going forward. So, New Patriotic Party, it seems like you are the ones that tend to do those type of things. Stop it. Mbuamo. There's no point trying to stunt because you'll be found out. So, after he said what he said, they met in a restaurant and Accra, and they were doing all sorts of things. I told you, people started looking for the security cameras, the CCTV footage, and what they found has debunked your story. You're a liar. You're a liar. And you think we're going to sit here for misinformation to fester? I believe the path that the National Democratic Congress has taken, government has taken in allowing the security services to work and to deal with people who don't tell the truth, who misinform and miscommunicate and lie to the general public, make unsubstantiated claims, and when they are asked to provide the evidence, they fail woefully. Make an example of them. So it sends a message, because these people are high profile people. When you make an example of them, it sends a message to people who don't have that political exposure, that if even a politically exposed person is getting this type of backlash, this type of legal system being put on them, judgment being put on them, then how much me, who doesn't have any political affiliations, if I get into trouble, who's going to help me? You see, both Adenta Kumi and Chairman Wontumi, they've forgotten that when they were in government under Nana Akufu-Addo, they were doing things with impunity. And they didn't care whose foot they stood on, because they knew President Akufo-Addo, former President Akufo-Addo, will clear them. And they will still be able to do their foolishness. But now, you can't do your foolishness anymore. You're not in government. And this is the CCTV camera footage from the purported meeting at a restaurant in Accra, airport residential area. Sorry is the one circulated with the yellow band, and the ones who came in through the doors were the judges. Justice Kolundi is hugging Sorry, that is Sorry now, and then going to his table with the other two judges he walked in with. And Sorry gets up and goes and exchanges pleasantries with the judges on another table, briefly, out of respect for their position in the law courts. Lawyers show respect to judges when they meet them. And that is what Thaddeus Sorry was doing. After that, he returned back to his table with his friend, sat down.
NPP youth activist and former parliamentary candidate for Adenta, Kumi, is under detention at the NIB office at Kaukudi. Abibio is at the center of a petition to the president to dissolve the committee probing the removal of the Chief Justice. He is alleging misconduct in his petition, which he believes could compromise the integrity of the inquiry. Kumi alleged that on May 15, 2025, after the committee's inaugural sitting, Justices Puaman and Boasiako, along with Supreme Court Justice Yoni Kulendi, were seen dining with Thaddeus Sori, counsel for petitioner Daniel Ofori, at Santoku restaurant in Accra's airport residential area. He claimed they were overheard discussing matters related to the petition.
He's been charged a few minutes ago. So they cautioned him and then they charged him. So as far as the process is concerned, we are almost through with the process. Because once there is an interrogation and you are cautioned first, and then they press charges against you, then you're almost through. Technically, I'm sure the next should either be in court or if putting in a bail application. So let's see how it goes.
What do they say his offenses are?
False publication. False publication in relation to an interview he granted on a traditional media, and then something he posted on his X account, and then a petition he wrote to the president.
So, look, in this world, I always let me just end this episode with Proverbs 11:31, and it goes like this. If the righteous and the just get their reward on earth, how much more the wicked and the sinner? Let me tell you, folks. We all get our reward on earth, whether good or bad. Whatever seed you sow, whether good or bad, you get your reward on earth. You won't get it after you die. So, Chairman Wontumi, the seeds you have sown, they are now sprouting out. They are now growing. And now you're exposed. Adenta Kumi, you're a young man. Why are you engaging in misinformation and lies? It's not going to help you going forward. You know, a good name is better than riches. Please, change your political strategies if you want to win in this day of high-speed communication and technological advancement. Stop using tactics that are outdated and don't work. Settings, pretending that something has happened, crying wolf from everybody, whether there's NPP, New Patriotic Party people who are doing this, and there's also National Democratic Congress, NDC people who are doing this type of baseless, non-evidenced allegations. They need to stop. They need to stop. Because the Ghanaian voter is becoming more sophisticated and is getting more knowledge and likes to look into the matter. They don't accept everything you tell them. They go and research to find out if what you're saying is true or not. And social media is helping this advancement. So politicians, your lies will not work. You'll be found out. Even
Mr. President, what would it take for you to be convinced that there's no white genocide in South Africa?
Well, I can answer that for the President. It's for him. I'm seriously. I'd rather have him answer.
Our President will respond to you. Thank you, Mr. President.
It will take President Trump listening to the voices of South Africans, some of whom are his good friends, like those who are here. When we have talks between us on around a quiet table, it will take President Trump to listen to them. I'm not going to be repeating what I've been saying. I would say if there was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these three gentlemen would not be here, including my Minister of Agriculture. He would not be with me. So it'll take him, President Trump, listening to their stories, to their perspective. That is the answer to your question.
Crosses planted on both sides of the road, representing lives that have been taken on farms, farm murders.
So the crosses were symbolic.
Yes, the crosses are symbolic.
It's a terrible sight. I've never seen it. Both sides of the road, you have crosses. Those people were all killed.
Have they told you where that is, Mr. President? No. I'd like to know where that is.
I mean, it's in South Africa.
What would it take for you to be convinced that there's no white genocide in South Africa?
Well, I'll answer that for the President.
What made you stay in this community that took something so precious from you?
I think the big thing that's made me stay is that we've been a family that have been in the community for many generations. And it's not easy for me just to leave. I still love this country enough to be able to stay. And I think if we can just join hands, and I think there's more than enough people in the country, black and white, that are willing to take hands and try and make this country a success.
A white genocide in South Africa?
No, there's no sign of it. Never has been. In fact, whites are economically the strongest group. They benefited from democracy more than anybody else. 64% of all boardrooms in South Africa is still white. The average income of white South Africans are vastly higher than black South Africans. No. They have better schools, they have better education, private health care. This is the land of milk and honey if you're white.
Has any land been expropriated in South Africa without compensation since the first all-race election in this country?
I'm not aware of anyone. Not a single farm that I'm aware of was expropriated without compensation since 1994.
So how do we interpret President Trump's executive order?
It is possible that South Africa has offended the United States with his policy on the Palestinians, and it could be that with his policy on Russia, the ambiguities of those policies and its relationship with the Chinese. It could be. I think that does play a role. But there was something very, very sensitive that was touched upon. And in South Africa, right-wing groups, so-called civil society groups, we know that they have access to the Trump administration because they claim that. And if you listen to what Trump has said, it corresponds exactly with the genocide narrative that they sell and that they market, and that whites are victims of the democratic system and the constitution of South African legislation. So there's an overlay, there's an immediate overlay, there's an unquestionable overlay between what Trump says and these right-wing groups have said. So I'm afraid when they say they have direct access to the Trump administration, and we see it in what Trump has been doing.
Even Donald Trump is being found out. I saw the video. I think it's worth watching that. When he met South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa, he started talking about white genocide in South Africa and showing the footage and stuff. And though President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa was very uncomfortable, he acquitted himself well, in my estimation. Because what could he say? And apparently, it's subsequently come out that the videos he showed were not even truthful. Were lies. He talked about some white crosses along a road, and they represented the burial grounds or the dead bodies of that had been buried of people who were unalived by farmers who were unalived by black people in South Africa. It turned out that was a lie. That was a lie. So I don't know who helps him with his research, but it seems like if you're looking at the track record of Donald Trump since his second coming, you will notice that when he met the Ukrainian president, it was also very confrontational. He's bringing this confrontational energy to whoever he meets. So if there's ever going to be a meeting between John Mahama and Donald Trump in his second coming, John Mahama better be prepared because Donald Trump is going to bring so many things, to create confusion. And if you don't have your knowledge up, he will beat you because he's just looking for things to say that these countries, African countries, are not helping America. But are America helping African countries? It seems like that a lot of their motives are not clear. Also, I almost forgot. Do you realize that I saw earlier in this week that Pope Leo, there was a video that Pope Leo had received correspondence from Ibrahim Traore Captain Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso. But it turns out it's a scam. Look at what Vatican said. And already there is fake news concerning him. Vatican News reports, and it goes as follows. Fake message to President of Burkina Faso attributed to Pope. A 36-minute speech in English created with artificial intelligence has been uploaded to YouTube, falsely attributing to Pope Leo words from Ibrahim Traore, President of Burkina Faso. To His Excellency President Ibrahim Traore, President of the sovereign nation of Burkina Faso, son of African soil, defender of his people, may grace and peace multiply for you through wisdom, courage, and faith. This is how a supposed English language message attributed to the Pope created with artificial intelligence begins. A video about 36 minutes was uploaded to YouTube on the account Pan African Dreams, produced using footage from Pope Leo's audience with journalists on Monday, May 12th. A morphing technique was used, that is, transforming the image so that the movement of the lips matches the AI generated words. The fake video is titled Pope Leo Responds to Captain Ibrahim Traore, a message of truth, justice, and reconciliation. What this proves to you is that people go to so huge lengths, such huge lengths. Nti video na echo round no. There's a viral video echo round. Echere say Ibrahim Traore ene Pope Leo enya nkitaho abra enye nokre. Nti Vatican News for at the aba abonten say saa video no a omo upload ko YouTube channel bi a friend of Pan African Dreams eye intro. Fake news, misleading the people, false information. Saa deɛ wei na Adenta Kumi akɔyɛ na ene ne ho akɔkyerɛ no a NIB fo bet crew no kɔyɛ a eja afenyo marking intervene a yama ni bail a akɔtena fie. Saa nsɛmhunu wei ɛna Pan African Dreams YouTube channel kɔyɛ here because they want audiences nti ɔmo pɛ sɛ ɔmo generate biribi na nkurɔfoɔ pii ba ɔmo channel no so nti afei de yɛde ntrɔ fam you know. Anyway, Vatican abɛka sɛ nsɛm no yɛ ntrɔ nti deɛ ɔmo ka nie nti essentially Mary baby Mary di akɔ no hɔ na ɔmo aka ɔmo sɛ ɛyɛ fake video na ɔmo de artificial intelligence ɛna ɛyɛɛyɛ. Viewers are led to believe that the new pope delivered an entire public address to Burkina Faso's president Ibrahim Traoré. Sɛ Pan-African nneɛma na ɛkɔ so energy na erupt wɔ Africa no a obiara ka ne kurom first. Sɛ yɛka sɛ Ghana first, obi nso Burkina Faso first, Ivory Coast first, ɛne keka ho. Nkurɔfoɔ keka nneɛma saa no. Ama nkurɔfoɔ binom anya ahoɔden sɛ yɛnyɛ biribi a ɛbɛma nkurɔfoɔ abɛhwɛ yɛ YouTube channel more. Ɛna ɔmo acreate saa fake video yi. Na wohu sɛ adeɛ a ɛnyɛ nokorɛ deɛ stand. Truth stands. Lies lie down. So whatever you do in life, let truth lead you. Because truth always stands, but lies lie. Nti deɛ na aba no no. Viewers are led to believe that the new pope delivered an entire public address to Burkina Faso's president Ibrahim Traoré in response to his letter, and in the video, Pope Leo is made to say, "I have read your words not once, but many times, and each reading has been deeper than the last, because in your voice I have heard not only the anger of a president, but the righteous cry of a continent long wounded by the twin blades of abandonment and exploitation." This video is part of a series of fake messages covered by BBC News on May 15th. And then they give BBC's URL, http www.bbc.com/Afrique articles, and was reposted in a slightly shorter, lower quality version by the YouTube account Noisi Liglish. It is notable that the image of Pope is repeated, and Leo holds the same two sheets of paper throughout the entire message. It is worth recalling, given the circulation on various social media of texts attributed to the new Pope without source indication, that all of Pope Leo's speeches, addresses, and texts can be consulted in full at vatican.va. Nti Vatican News for no can say obi bɛka sɛ Pope aka biribi a na wopɛ sɛ check sɛ nokora na nipa ne ka ɔmo srɛ mo a obi amba vatican.va so ɛna ɔmo bɛhwɛ sɛ ampa Pope Leo kan ya na wanka, because ɔmo hwɛ sɛ na wiase kɔ ne artificial intelligence ɛkɔ n'anim no obi betumi aka asɛm ahyɛ obi ano na create confusion. And it's always good to check back at vatican.va. So ope no cry what in summer Pope aka. New Pope Leo aka. Sana no omoka wahano. News of his activities and video messages are available in real time on Vatican News portal at vaticannews.va in multiple languages, as well as on Vatican's newspaper website, Le Observateur Romano, at observateurromano.va. Thank you for reading our article. You can keep up to date by subscribing to our daily newsletter. Inti in some more canon, almost betimi akọ omo portal vaticannews.va na omo newspaper observatoryromano.va. na wako check say making sure say information now more disseminating on social media no no true do. The video is a scam and it's AI generated. Wow. Misinformation. It's everywhere. Donald Trump is spreading misinformation. You see how the people have caught him out. So it's everywhere. This trend is a global trend. Catching people out. People who misinform, catching them out. It's a global trend. You see how the people have caught him out. And with Pope and Ibrahim Traore, fake correspondence. You see how they've been caught out. So there are people who have made it their life's work to catch you out if you don't tell the truth about a certain issue. So if you're a politician and you like to lie, you're not going to survive in this game. Anyway, here's where I like to leave it. Once again, if you like this type of content, like, share, subscribe, and press that notification bell. As I always tell you before I conclude, I have a couple of ebooks. One on leadership. It's a daily devotional, 365 days. So go to kofi.com/coachwrite and download it for free. It's a free gift, my free gift to you. And also, I have another ebook on corruption in the 54 African countries of the world. So you can go to kofi.com/coachwrite below. The link is below in the description, and download that as well for free. It's an interesting read. So thank you so much for your time, and see you in the next episode. As I always end, Ghana first, always. Father God of the